r/AskReddit by Redmond Dts. Human resources people of Reddit, what are some NSFW or WTF reasons an employee has been disciplined and/or terminated for? A guy got fired because IT found he was using his work laptop to arrange hookers while traveling for work. Afterwards they discovered he was keeping a spreadsheet with scores and ranks and which female employee the hooker most looked like. Lawyer here. I'm no longer surprised by how many people use their work emails to purchase drugs and plan their meth-fueled orgies. My VP of HR was fired for sexual harassment. She went around the entire office bragging about her BJ skills. We busted someone smoking crack on the job by a cooling tower. We also busted someone having sex in their car with their side piece and didn't answer the radio when we called them. Just fired 2 people for stealing 60 grand worth of copper lines off the lineman truck. Not in HR, but I know of someone who was fired after less than 6 months because he kept showing porn to his colleagues, and when his manager came in and he was doing a line of coke, he asked him to watch the door so nobody else walked in. Back when I was a warehouse manager, I caught 2 employees having sex in an isolated high bay storage aisle. I immediately proceeded to not give a shit and went on about my day. Another time I caught a member of upper management pilfering product in the same area. Again, I immediately proceeded to not give a shit, and later that week I got promoted. Not HR, but had a friend in IT security who needed to vent. We worked together for years. Years ago, late 1990s, at a large company, there was a team in the basement of the building. I forget their job. Their section was down a long hall of cubicle walls, so they could see if someone was coming to them, and they could prepare. That team requisitioned a server for their work. At the time, servers were expensive and other teams went without. The systems team replaced their old novel mail server with Exchange. They planned for 5 years of space and thought all was good. At the 6-month point, the Exchange server was nearly full. An audit of account sizes found that this team of 5 were using 70% of the space in company of a several thousand. Porn. Lots of porn. They were emailing each other pics and movies, storing them on the server they had. As soon as management knew, they fired the team and locked all their devices in a secure room. My friend's job was to go through all of it. All the workstations, server, and email accounts, creating a spreadsheet of the content. This was per the legal department, to make sure there was nothing illegal there. It took him over a week to get it done, to keep it quiet, and tell no one from the company other than the lawyers. Fortunately, there was nothing illegal, just really graphic. After, he was given 2 weeks of vacation to decompress, and a therapist if he wanted. How did I know? I was a contractor there at the time. And while he was told to tell no other employees, I was not an employee, I was a friend from another job, and he needed to tell someone other than his wife. So when he was finishing up, he walked by my desk, said, "Let's go to lunch, right now." So I went to lunch, and just listened to him vent. I had to let a kid go for showing other staff members his homemade porn he was watching at work. Worst part, most of it was solo. I used to work in a UK job center, and we had 2 blokes and a woman all laid off from the same factory on the same day. All were trying to claim unemployment benefit after being dismissed for gross misconduct. It only came to light that these 3 had been caught enjoying a threesome in the works toilets when one of the bloke's wives came into the office on signing on day 2. To the best of my memory, lamp that fucking slag lost my Trevor his fucking job. I had a guy who, in his first week of employment, was caught masturbating to pornography in the parking lot, no effort to be subtle or anything. The company I worked for was so lawsuit adverse that they would never let us fire anyone. In fact, we once had an employee who we found out was coming into work, clocking in, and then going home. They would come back at the end of their shift to clock out. HR wouldn't let us fire this employee without first giving them a warning. Anyway, I hear about this, check with HR, and as it turns out, masturbating in the parking lot is a terminatable offense. So I volunteered to take care of terminating the guy. So I bring the guy into an office to tell him that we are letting him go, and he asks me, don't I get a warning? And I had to tell him, no, not for this. This was decades ago. I live close to a Honda plant. One employee was filming, and this dude on the assembly line pulls out his dong, and the girl next to him gave him about 3 seconds of oral. They were both fired, and the video was all over Facebook. I found a used condom in my office trash can. A few days later, I found another. I was notified both times, so they called building security after the second. My office was added to patrol route. An employee of mine, married woman, late 20s, was hosting gentlemen from other departments, 3 that she confessed to, in my office after hours, because her home life was shit. My office was on an inside corridor and had no windows, and she had a key that she'd been given by the previous occupant of that office for legit work reasons. She and her stable of men were all let go, and the company paid a professional cleaning crew to deep clean my office. Didn't matter, still got the eek in there. HR found a bent and burnt spoon with the remainder of heroin in the trash of the bathroom right after the new hire walked out of it. When confronted about it, he couldn't even put a sentence together. Was fired immediately. I have been both HR and a union rep. The 4 strangest things, 2 NSF and 2 WTF. One I was involved with was an organized effort by several employees to steal chocolate bars from a third-party vendor that used one of our storage rooms. It has since garnered the name the Cadbury Caper. Over 7 employees were terminated, and 2 other investigations were launched because of evidence that came up during that investigation about other separate incidents of theft. One of which was an employee taking clean laundry home, using it at home and their cottage, sheets, towels, washcloths, etc., and then returning the dirty laundry to work and taking more clean ones home again. The second was a registered nurse who was having secret sexual liaisons with a long-term inpatient. She would take him in his wheelchair on walks and then go into an unused storage room in the basement and get to know each other. The third was an incident where the staff washrooms were being randomly found to have fecal matter strewn on the walls like finger painting. It happened over several weeks, until we literally had to watch cameras to see who went in and out of those washrooms all day and have them cleaned after every use to see who was doing it. The fourth was a maintenance person who was caught watching porn on his work computer and masturbating to it on duty. Just before he was fired, he claimed to have a porn addiction, which completely shifted the course of the investigation and incident. I was a manager of an office. One of the girls came in on the weekend. She walked in on one of the male colleagues in the office having sex with another woman. And that woman was not his wife. When she complained to me, she was very descriptive and even told me that the office smelled like sex. The guy was fired and his wife filed for divorce. Lesson to be learned. Don't be cheap and bring your mistress to the office to have sex. I was talking to our head of training years ago. I asked him that question. He said once he got a call from the hotel manager where we were holding a training session. The manager had him come into his office. The manager asked, "Are you aware we have security cameras in the stairwells?" He then proceeded to show a video of employees having sex in the stairwell. The training head then paused and said, "So those 3 got fired." Had a guy I was working with who was obviously on something, had been reported to ours several times. Boss tried to do him a solid and let him take a cup home to piss in to be drug tested and bring it back. A few days later, overheard the boss telling him that they know he got someone else to pee in the cup. Dude was raging, promising it was his. The boss told him if it was his, he was pregnant. Made him take another one in the work bathroom and he failed for meth. fired, but he was back a week later. Interesting enough, if a male's urine makes a pregnancy test positive, he needs to be checked for testicular cancer. Not in HR, but I had to do some of the firing on the farm when I was farming. Well, one guy we hired seasonally to help out at our farm market got caught screwing a customer's dog in the walk-in cooler. We had to let him go with the police. I've had to fire a line lead, manufacturing, because she was sleeping with the first and second shift production leaders. They wanted to fight for her in the middle of the plant when they finally figured it out, and she was egging them on. Manager was caught having sex with another manager's wife in the car on company property while the husband was working. Chef I worked with once had to fire a guy after he found this dude in the walk-in refrigerator screwing a freshly cooked prime rib. Dude didn't even stop, just looked at chef and said, "Man, you gotta try this." Restaurants can be freaking wild, man. That's all, folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening. Tell your friends about me.